Hello, welcome to the K News. I'm Vivian. This video is about the meeting that shocked the world on February 28, 2025. A historic meeting, a heated confrontation, and a shocking walkout. Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky met in the White House for what was supposed to be a landmark agreement. Instead, the discussion turned tense. Trump made it clear Ukraine needed to be open to negotiation. Zelensky pushed back, arguing that his country's survival was at stake. Then, in a stunning moment, Trump canceled the press conference, refused to sign a key minerals deal, and Zelensky left the White House abruptly. What happened in that room? And what does it mean for the future of U.S. Ukraine relations? Let's break it down, moment by moment. The meeting started on a positive note. Trump welcomed Zelensky, acknowledging their past dealings and close cooperation. He emphasized that the U.S. was committed to working with Ukraine, especially on economic agreements and rare earth mineral extraction. Zelensky thanked Trump for the invitation and expressed hope that this agreement would provide real security guarantees for Ukraine.
Russia, I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We're going to have to negotiate a deal. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while, right after lunch, and we'll be having lunch together.
But as the conversation continued, it became clear that both leaders had different priorities. Vice President J.D. Vance was the first to shift the tone of the meeting. He suggested that Ukraine needed to look at diplomatic options to end the war. This was a major shift from previous U.S. policy. The Biden administration had been focused on sending military aid. Now the Trump administration was signaling that negotiation was the way forward.
For 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Zelensky, however, was not convinced. He pushed back, asking Vance, "What kind of diplomacy, JD?" Trump then took control of the conversation, and that's when things got intense.
Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
Trump made his stance crystal clear. He looked at Zelensky and said, "You don't have the cards." In other words, without U.S. support, Ukraine had little leverage in negotiations. Zelensky didn't back down. His response? "I'm not playing cards, Mr. President. I'm the president of a country at war." At that moment, the mood in the room completely changed. Trump then took drastic action. He canceled the scheduled press conference and refused to sign the minerals deal, shocking Zelensky and his delegation.
But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think?
Zelensky and his team left the White House abruptly. Journalists rushed to ask him questions, but he refused to comment. Meanwhile, Trump took to Truth Social and posted, "Come back when you're ready for peace." Just like that, the meeting collapsed. The reaction to the meeting was immediate and intense. Protests erupted, especially among pro-Ukraine supporters, who were angry that Trump had suggested negotiations with Russia. J.D. Vance, who had played a major role in the discussion, faced backlash and was even forced to leave a ski resort due to security concerns. Meanwhile, political figures were divided. Some praised Trump for pushing for diplomacy, while others accused him of abandoning a wartime ally. Then came the viral moment. A reporter asked Zelensky, "Why don't you wear a suit?" Zelensky's response, "Problems?" The internet exploded. People pointed out that business leaders like Elon Musk wear t-shirts to major meetings, but Zelensky gets criticized for wearing his military uniform. The debate over his clothing choice overshadowed part of the larger issue, Ukraine's survival. So what does this really mean for Ukraine? First, it's clear that Trump's approach is very different from Biden's. Instead of just sending military aid, he is pushing for negotiation. Second, Ukraine now faces a challenge. Without full U.S. backing, how will it secure weapons, funding, and strategic alliances? And third, this meeting raises serious questions about the future of U.S. Ukraine relations. This meeting was supposed to strengthen U.S. Ukraine ties. Instead, it might have damaged them permanently. Was Trump right to push for diplomacy, or did he just leave Ukraine vulnerable? Will Zelensky find new support, or is Ukraine on its own now? One thing is for sure, this was not just another meeting. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dive analysis on global politics. Thank you.